The other thing we got to talk about, Khabib Nurmagomedov back in the news. They're saying he's going to be meeting with Dana White next month. Dana very optimistic about bringing him back here. But, I mean, am I missing something here, Kev? Let's get your thoughts on this. But, I mean, to me, it's GSP or bust. I don't know who else he would come back and fight. What do you think?
Who is he going to fight?
Yeah, like, because I think if Khabib's going to come back, it's got to be a reason to come back. It's got to be like a money fight or something. And you know he won't fight Conor. So who's he going to fight? It's got to be GSP. And I don't think GSP wants to come back.
Well, he's going to fight. Well, GSP doesn't want to come back because he grew some hair. So he's trying to show us this hair that he grew out of nowhere. Right? So he got blonde tips in it or silver tip. I don't know what's going on.
I didn't even recognize
but, yeah, but he got some hair. So, you know, he's trying to show that hair out real soon. But, yeah, I mean, earlier in the year, I would say about 5-6 months ago, 7 months ago, he looked like he was cutting down in weight already. George was. He looked like he was really, really focusing on cutting down on weight and seeing how he feels at a certain weight or whatnot. And, you know, and he seems to be close to the weight and he seems to be staying in shape. So I know he's watching what's going on. However, I never thought that Khabib's retirement was real. I don't think that's real. I think a guy needs a break. I think he needs a mental break. I think he needs a physical break because his body, first of all, his weight cuts are hard. His weight cuts are really hard. And he's going to make weight. It's not a question if he's going to make weight or not make weight because he's a pretty big guy. But the weight cuts are hard, and also his father passed away. So he needs a mental break. It just makes perfect sense for him. He's 31 years old. He hasn't had a break in I don't know how long. He's always injured. You know, so a guy like that needs a break for his body and needs a break for his mind. I think that he will come back. And when he does come back, if George is not available, I think the fire will be in his, you know, the fire will be there in the belly to try to reclaim what he lost. Now, I don't think he's coming back in the first quarter. I don't think he's coming back in the second quarter. I think you're not seeing him until the third or fourth quarter if he does come back. And it's important for the UFC to try to get him back. Look how they're chasing him to go get him back. They need stars. They got to sell pay-per-views, guys. And a guy just left that has 2.4 million pay-per-view buys or some crazy shit like that in the card before that. The guy sells pay-per-views. And the UFC only has 9 or 8 guys who could sell it. And that guy's number 1, number 2, number 3, somewhere there in pay-per-view buys. You gotta go. Whatever he needs, you gotta give it to him. And he's in his prime. It's not like he's old. So it's like, shit, what do we got to do to get you back? They'll do anything to get that guy back. He carries a whole country, you know? So a whole country and a whole religion of people. Don't get that. Don't miss that. He has a whole country of Russia, and then he has every Muslim person you could think of. And Muslims are not just Middle Eastern Russian. They're also African and Black. There's a huge Muslim population in America. So they need him. Yeah, they need him.
They do. Now, my only thing is, and I'm going to kind of look at this at a different angle as well, is that, like, I think because of that, because he's such a religious person, it's not about the money for him. I don't get the sense that he's coming back because he needs the money or he wants to do it. I think he's a guy that would live a very simple life and not a very flashy life. So it's not about the payday. It's got to be about the challenge. And I just don't know what challenges lie for him. With GSP, obviously a legend, a guy that he respects, that everyone respects. It's George St-Pierre, for God's sakes. I mean, this is one of the best ambassadors ever in the sport. But I'm looking at the rankings here. He just beat Dustin Poirier last year, and Poirier's got to fight McGregor as well, and that's an interesting fight. If McGregor wins that, I think there's so much bad blood there with what McGregor said in the media and all that stuff, the comments about his wife and religion and all that stuff. I think just out of just pure, like, you know, sort of ethics, he wouldn't want to fight McGregor because he doesn't want to give him that platform. And then you add in his manager who also hates him as well. I think that's another reason that won't happen. Charles Oliveira winning last weekend was good. I think that could be an interesting challenge. I would love to see him fight Charles Oliveira because guess what? Oliveira has got a pretty damn good ground game. We saw that he nearly snapped Tony Ferguson's arm off last weekend. So that's someone that's kind of intriguing. But outside of that, Ferguson's never happening. He just lost. Conor McGregor, I already scratched him off. I just mentioned Poirier he beat last year. Dan Hooker, Dos Anjos. You see what I mean? As we're going down this list at lightweight, are those fights that consider like Khabib a challenge? Is there anyone in there that's like an up-and-comer that really stands out? No. And then you go to welterweight. I mean, I don't even know if he'd even consider that, but like, who do you want to fight at welterweight? I don't know. So that's where I'm kind of like, I don't know if he comes back.
He will never fight. He will never fight Usman at welterweight, right? Because they're friends, and they're just, that's never going to happen. Yeah. So I think I don't even think that it's going to be a person that gets him out of retirement, other than George St-Pierre. Obviously, that's the one that will get him out of, like, yo, already, all right, let's go. But I think it's going to be the desire to compete. after you understand, bro, there's a lot of mental stress that he's under right now. Like, you lose your father, who is the backbone to his whole thing. He does this whole thing because of his father. So I think that in due time, as that, slowly, that heavy weight starts to wear off, and that pain starts to wear off, and that pain turns into desire, I think that he'll come back then. Now, they're trying to rush him back because they need the numbers and they need a star around like him. But I think he should do it on his own time, whether it's a year, whether it's 2 years from now. I think that eventually he will return. And if he doesn't, then he's found peace doing whatever he is that he's. And he has, bro, the guy has so much money. The guy's made so much money. And you know how much money they give him in those Arab countries for him to show up? Oh, you won't even believe it. Some of this stuff that he does for the money that he does it for, it's so good. And the guy, he's well off right now. So he doesn't need to fight. But I think as time progresses, the body fully heals, and you get that itch to continue to fight and to go out there. It doesn't matter who's holding the belt at that point. At that point, you just want to compete. And I think that's when he comes back.
We'll see. I'm curious to see what happens next year. If he does come back, I definitely want to hear. We'll have to see if that does end up happening here.